All right, I'm taking care of the deletion here and resaving it for Facebook because apparently we lost the Facebook connection. But we lost the Facebook connection forever ago. So we put the replay on the Facebook page. Don't worry, folks. Don't worry. Hey, welcome to another Lifter LMS Ask Us Anything call. Right now, it looks like people that are joining us live is a lower number than I'm used to seeing. So I hope that our emails and our notifications and things like that are working. But hey, that makes it easier for others to come in here and maybe get their question asked. So if you want to try Lifter LMS, let's go through the banners. If you want to try Lifter LMS, go to lifterlms.com/try. In the meantime, you're going to want to put questions that you might have into the chat. So my wonderful co-star, Emily, wave to the crowd. There we go. Emily can help us answer some questions. Again, my name is Kurt. Trying to think, what else do we really want to talk about here? We do have a 55% off coupon. I'll throw that on the ticker below. If you go to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift, 55% off. Again, that's lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. AMA-gift. I'm going to go check our spreadsheet and see if we have any pre-submitted questions, Emily. While I'm doing that, just tell listeners and viewers how you're doing this week. What's going on?
I'm doing all right. I need to get some vitamin C because I don't know. I've been off my vitamin C supplements for a minute and I have a scratch in my throat. So I might need to get back on the vitamin C, but I'm doing good. I slept very well last night. It's like the first time in a long time. I've been doing a lot of work on my own website lately, and that's rare for a web developer. So, just it's kind of nice to work on my marketing engine a little bit. I think I'm so used to just taking new client outreach. Oh, Delphine's in chat. Good morning. But yeah, I just working some of the things I've been doing for clients courses, for their marketing engines, working that into my business this week. And that's creating, I really hate the phrase Chris uses, which is eating our own dog food, because that sounds disgusting, but it's the principle. I'm like publishing a blog post about a strategy that I'm using so that I can refer to my blog post to build my course. And I can't think of a better way other than like I'm inbreeding with my own content, which is worse than eating your own dog food. I will one day find a good metaphor for this, but building and learning from what I'm building. How about you, Kurt?
Well, there's no questions here, so I gotta turn this thing off. I'm still getting used to the new computer. Just in certain things, like when it goes to, so when you go from PC to Mac, I was amazed because it was really very similar. It wasn't as different as people described it to be, right? But there's just different things. Like, for instance, when I go to do a screen share in Zoom, I'm used to share screen, pick the screen or the window or the whatever, right? And for some reason in my Zoom now, I click screen share, and it's instantly like screen sharing a default screen or something. And I'm going, I don't know, I got to change this. Because sometimes I just want to share the tab, or sometimes I just want to share, a different thing. So I don't know. There's things I got to figure out. And just now I was looking up the spreadsheet for pre-submitted questions. And then I had to log back into Google, and then it came up as the spreadsheet. And then it opened another thing and another thing. I was like, what the hell is happening here? So I finally got all that stuff to turn off. But yeah, that's where my head's at. Just getting used to the new computer. Updating operating systems was also a really good time for me to examine some processes. And so I've been cleaning up some processes internally as an agency, the company. And, all those episodes I make with Toby on the Agency Action Show, it'll be funny because we'll talk about stuff, and I don't run my agency the way Toby runs his agency. So I end up learning a lot from him, and he learns from me. but it makes me very introspective, right? So then I go, am I growing this the healthiest way? Am I doing this the best way? Should I be looking at hiring somebody full time? Should I do this? Should I fast forward my apprenticeship program for the neighborhood and bring some young people in real quick? So there's just been a lot of that. And business start, I don't want to say booming. I don't want to curse it, but interesting things, really interesting things. Like I got an email late last night from someone in California. And I think I talked to you about this person probably 4, 5, 6 months ago. They asked me to help them with the Lifter LMS project. I said, we can do that. We had a great discussion. Turned out we were from the same neighborhood in California, except I live in Kansas now. And it was a great discussion. And then I gave them a proposal, and I caught myself doing that weird, like, hey, I'm going to give him the boys club discount. Like I was just like, he's a really cool dude. He's straightforward. He's got his content. It's not going to be that hard of a project. So I gave him a proposal that was priced accordingly. It wasn't priced like, full blown needs assessment, start from scratch money. And he called me and said, hey, I really appreciate the proposal. It seems like it's right, blah, blah, blah. But my brother, my partner, wants to use another provider that said they could do it for $300 a month. Do you remember that? And that got me really thinking about my website as a subscription model, which I do now for startup businesses here in Kansas. And it was so funny. My wife was kind of upset. She was like, we could really use that money. Maybe you should match it. I'm like, I'm not matching it. I'm not giving this guy, $6,000, $8,000, $9,000 worth of work for $300 out of pocket. Like, I'm not going to build this giant thing for a stranger for $300 and then have the project implode or not finish or whatever, because the work is up front. Like building, this, you build the project, you're putting all this work in up front to hopefully get paid later. That's a hard thing to stomach with a startup when you're not sure if they're going to be successful or not. So anyway, I got the email last night. The email was, hey, I don't know if you remember us or not, but we sure would like to know if we could still work with you. and it's just that reminder, Emily, sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need a reminder that says, gosh darn it, I am successful, and gosh darn it, people like me. It was just nice to get that. And then I did a talk locally on WordPress last Friday, and that's given me 3 referrals this week. So out of 11 people in attendance, I got 3 referrals for new projects. So yeah, everything's working good.
That's awesome. I miss the WordPress community I was involved with in Atlanta. They were really cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting here in my little, armpit area of Kansas here. There's a lot of people, a lot more than I thought, kind of like in a tech space, in a marketing space, but they're not like WordPress, right? And so I run the WordPress meetup here, and barely anyone ever shows up. I still do it. I mean, it's a passion piece, right? It's not a money piece, that little thing that I do once a month. But it's interesting. Like, I ran into a guy who goes, oh yeah, I used to work with WordPress. And I'm like, you used to, so now what do you work with? Like, what's okay in your, esteemed level of experience, what did you find that was more cost efficient and secure than WordPress? And then I came to find out he wasn't even really doing like websites anymore. He does like he like wraps vehicles, does like tangible physical marketing projects.
Mm-hmm.
Pens, notepads, business cards, wrap your truck. And that's a cool business. But I think that got so busy that he just stepped away. And then another lady that she says that she's familiar with WordPress, but then upon talking to her, she's more like the digital marketing guru, right? So she's about Facebook ads and pay-per-click advertising and SEO and things like that. And so she does websites, but I think they're more like Replit, Webflow, like kind of like those kind of processes. Yeah. So it's interesting. We don't really have a WordPress community here like the way you described.
Yeah, that group had a lot of freelancers, people who worked at companies like Bluehost. and places like that. So it was really cool to be kind of like in this like in crowd, and even amongst them at the time I was like super knowledgeable with WordPress and the products and the tools and the development. And I this was really before I had stepped into the local meetups, and I was intimidated going to these things because I was like, I am gonna like be so knowledgeless and it's gonna be super boring. But it was cool. Like they had good food. It was hosted at people's homes. I really enjoyed the community. It's people who like use WordPress, and most of the people who use WordPress, they don't even know what a plugin is. But they're but it's okay. They're like trying to figure out how to optimize their businesses. It's like the most casual business crowd I've ever come across, and it's really cool.
That is cool. I was hesitating. I might mention it. I don't know. I signed up to be an affiliate, and I don't have my affiliate link yet. So now I'm like, do I really want to share it with people now? What are you posting to your social media on?
I sometimes I'll use a tool called Buffer, which lets me schedule my posts out, but usually I just post directly to the platform.
Nice, nice. So some stuff I do direct on platform, but I signed up for a lifetime deal with this thing called Hero Post. So we need to go back in time. I used to run a ton of social media accounts for a lot of different companies. That was like bread and butter for Manana Nomás for a while. And I used to use a professional tool called Sprout Social. Have you ever heard of Sprout Social?
No.
It ain't cheap, son. It's they take all your money. But it was like a really great platform because you could like load up a picture and then just click a button and say, optimize this picture for Instagram, for a YouTube thumb, for Facebook, for a Facebook cover image, for whatever. Because, like the biggest problem with, I shouldn't say that for you, it's not, you're graphical. Emily is a wonderful graphic artist, everybody, in case you didn't know that. I am not. And so one of the biggest struggles I always had was getting the dang photos and images and all those digital assets to fit the different specifications for the different channels, right? Like I would load something up and it would say, okay, this is great for a Facebook post, but it's not centered or looks crappy in Instagram, right? And so Sprout Social would automatically reformat your images to fit those things. That was great. It had a thing called the posting queue, which you could just add posts into it and say add to queue, add to queue, add to queue. And you had your queue set up so like maybe it posted 4 times a day or maybe it posted 5 times a day. But when you said add to queue, it just went into like first in, first out kind of a thing. And it would just automatically schedule all of your posts based on a spread out time span based on pre-planning.
Yeah.
Which was way cool because most tools are like, I want to schedule to go Friday at noon, and this one's Friday at 2, and this one's Friday at 6, and it's like, and you're manually picking all those dates and times. And so Sprout Social was cool because I could just say add to queue, and then it also had this repeat the post, so you could put in a post and you could say, okay, this post is going to be posted now, but I want to automatically repost it every 3 days for the next 6 weeks, and then it would do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got really spoiled using that tool. That tool was awesome, but I couldn't afford to pay for it forever. So, and we were kind of getting out of the whole posting for other people craze. I know that there's money there, but the frustration didn't outweigh the budget, right? So I kind of got away from that. And then I found this Hero Post thing, and it was a lifetime deal, and I bought it, and it kind of worked. It didn't have the posting queue, and it didn't automatically reformat images and stuff like that, but it kind of worked. It would do the repost every 3 days, 5 days, 4 days, whatever. It would repost things. I could schedule things, and I could do multiple accounts at the same time. And so that's what I liked about it. Well, I was on it for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden they were like, yeah, this version is going to get mothballed, and we're going to come out with Hero Post 2.0 or something, right? And so now, if you want to subscribe, you can. And I was like, oh, you jerks, right? Lifetime deals out the window, and now I got to subscribe. I always get angry when that happens because I love my lifetime deals. And so I subscribed for like the last year, and then I am pre-subscribed because I bought the 6-month deal. I'm on it until like July, right? But I kind of made up my mind. I don't want to keep paying for this thing like forever. So I found a new one, Content 360. It's on a lifetime deal. I don't have an affiliate link yet to share with anybody. So if you sign up, I guess I just don't get my cut. But Hero Post is on a dark theme. And as you know, personally, I hate dark themes. I can't ever find what I want in a dark theme website. Content 360 is on a light theme. So that works better for me. So it's on a light theme. It lets me post to an unlimited number of accounts. It lets me set up groups so that I can automatically separate my channels for posting. So I could set up, well, let's just say I wanted to have a Mañana No Mas group and a WP Course Guide group, right? So when I pick that group, it would automatically post to Mañana No Mas, or if I pick WP Course Guide, it would automatically post to all the WP Course Guide channels, right? So I can do it for clients. It's a lifetime deal. I have unlimited groups, unlimited social accounts. It does the scheduling and it does the queue, which was the thing that was missing in Hero Post that I like so much. And then of course it's got a calendar to, verify your schedules and all that stuff. So I signed up for it like 3 days ago, set it all up. I put the first like 10 posts in it. It seems to be working. So I'm pretty happy.
Nice.
$67 for life.
$67 for life.
Yeah. I have no idea how they're going to be able to stay alive. I don't think they're going to be sustainable. I think I'll use it for a year or two and they'll either shut down or go to version 2.0 and ask me to subscribe.
Yeah.
So, but for now I'm going to use it.
Yeah. No, I feel you. It can be a little deceptive. Like ScreenFlow is the recording software I use on my Mac to record YouTube videos, and edit and publish them. And they always they have these version upgrades. You get it for life, but you have to pay for the version upgrade. So ScreenFlow 10.0 is a paid upgrade.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that ticks me off. But it's the other thing is I pay a subscription for other things. Like I subscribe to Descript, so I can do screen recordings on that. I have Zoom, so I can screen record on Zoom. I have StreamYard, I can screen record on StreamYard. So I've got those tools. I already told you that. Maybe I didn't tell you. Remember, I was a big fan of Adillo, and Adillo shut down their lifetime deal. They just said they're not going to honor it. They're not coming out with version 6.0 or nothing. Like they just said, yeah, we can't financially sustain this. So if you want to pick a subscription and keep your videos active, that's great. But we're going to shut everything down at the end of the month unless you pay us. And I was like, but I already did pay you. Like I don't even see how that, because it's not like they're sunsetting it. It's not like they're saying, oh, we're going to sunset this version, migrate your content over to a new updated version, and that requires a subscription, because that's what Hero Post kind of did. But yeah, they haven't improved the system at all. They just want to charge you more money. So I moved all my stuff to bunny.net. I'm just going to let that sunset itself.
Yeah.
But it had an awesome screen share tool. It really did. It was cool. And so I would make quick screen share tutorials for clients, because clients always forget stuff, right? Like, how do I switch users, or how do I whatever? I would just open up their website and go, okay, this is gonna be real quick. Here's how you switch users. Go to users, click switch user, boom, done. And then I would send them the link. And I think that's a real value add thing for an agency to do, but not anymore. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that now, because it's still, you can use Descript for that, but it's still multiple steps. Whereas with Adillo, it was like record, get link, send them the link. With Descript, it's still like do it, wait for the transcript to finish loading, and then publish it, and then get the link from the other page. Nah, it's crazy. Dell's got a question. Kind of a question. Dell says, since there are no questions, would you please explain how WordPress and Lifter LMS work together?
Yeah, I would be happy to do a screen share. Let's take a look. Use my system settings. I'm doing my own StreamYard thing. Since I always would share just a window, I think it's still the same. There it goes. So yeah, Lifter LMS works on top of WordPress. WordPress is a content management system to build websites, usually for building blog websites or static websites, where you just have a basic navigation. Maybe you're promoting a physical business, but a lot of the time WordPress is something that supports your business. WordPress usually isn't your business in itself. Our online community here, we use e-commerce on our WordPress website. So people are making the purchases on WordPress directly. So Lifter LMS operates as an e-commerce engine, bringing the point of purchase into your website ecosystem. So you have that option as like a paywall. And that's a really interesting feature to think about. WooCommerce introduces a paywall too. There's a bunch of other tools like Fluent Cart and all the cart tools or LMSs usually will have an e-commerce integration. At Lifter LMS, our easiest e-commerce integration is Stripe. So you just connect your Stripe account, you log into Stripe, you connect that to your bank so they know where to send the money, and then you just connect it to Lifter LMS. So Lifter LMS doesn't store payment information, but it acts as the gateway to say, have they paid, have they not paid, do they get access to content or not? You can do courses or memberships in Lifter LMS. It's pretty dynamic in that way. You'll find a lot of LMSs don't offer the ability to do memberships, and a lot of membership tools don't offer the ability for LMS components. When you're choosing whether you want to do a course or a membership, I like to think about the courses as sort of a timeline of completion. You have the lessons and the sections. You are expected to complete lesson 1, then lesson 2, lesson 3, and so on. So there's almost like a time element, a story element going on. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Whereas a membership is more of a static access of like, I just got access to what was behind the membership paywall and I can take the content in any order. You can use memberships and courses in a lot of ways together. You could use them separately, but basically memberships and courses are both available to be used individually or together. And so if you want to have a course that has a regimented time frame, by saying, maybe not regimented time frame, but an order at which you go through things, you can use the Lifter LMS course builder here. This course builder user interface was designed by Lifter LMS, and it doesn't quite feel like WordPress, but we've tried to bring the WordPress feel into curriculum design. And Lifter LMS and WordPress also can act like curriculum design platforms. People who've been in the e-learning space for a long time may be used to SCORM, where you go to your authoring tool, like your Articulate 360 or whatever it might be. You create your content, your interactables, your experience, you export that, and then you put it in your LMS, which tracks the progress. Whereas Lifter LMS, in addition to bringing paywall features, in addition to bringing course and membership features, it also brings curriculum design features in that we expect you to build your platform inside of WordPress directly. So you can integrate SCORM if you want to, but what we see most of our users doing is that they will actually use the WordPress blocks and the tools available here to build their curriculum directly into WordPress. They'll use the Lifter LMS quiz system. They will design their lessons and everything right here in the in the WordPress user interface. But there are options for those who want to use SCORM content. There are options for those with maybe H5P content. But yeah, Lifter LMS out of the box supports images, PDFs, text, and all of the things that you could include in blocks. And I often recommend H5P to clients, those who like to invest in their learning content. And I've seen a lot of my clients lately show up with like a video. Maybe the best thing they'll show up with a lesson is a video. They'll be like, hey, okay, lesson 1 is a video, lesson 2 is a video. Some clients will show up with text lessons, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to struggle to sell these text lessons to people. Sometimes continuing education, when you open up a course and you just see a bunch of text, it can be kind of hard to look at. So H5P is a brilliant way to get a mix of your SCORM experience and what WordPress is expecting you to build. Hopefully that answers your question. Let us know if you have any follow-ups. Just in a broad sense, Lifter LMS incorporates paywall features, course and membership features, and then a learning experience that comes with some reporting and things that you'd expect in a learning management system. And that's all on top of what WordPress does in its own right. What do you think about that, Kurt?
Oh my goodness. I still get shocked when we open up a support ticket that says this doesn't work.
Yeah.
I downloaded the plugin and I opened it up and nothing happens. I'm like, do you have WordPress? And they go, I need WordPress?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm totally lost on how we got here. But yeah, it's so interesting because people will say, what is the relationship between WordPress and Lifter LMS, or what's the relationship between WordPress and Fluent Community or Buddy Boss or one of those, right? It's like, yeah, you need the foundation to put the tool on top of, right? It's like I don't consider myself a mechanic, but I am mechanical. I've got a toolbox, and in that toolbox are the tools that I need. And so in that analogy, maybe the toolbox on wheels is WordPress, and that toolbox will hold 60,000 tools, and then it's just a matter of how I use those tools. And so that's kind of the way that I look at it. It's more just like a foundational piece for me than the other thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and WordPress has a content management system gained a lot of popularity because it's open source. And so it's basically just a framework of PHP files to determine how your website shows content. And then it shows content based on what you build with the user experience. That back-end admin page where you create your pages and your posts and everything, it's all just communicating to a database. And when it's displayed to end users, when you go to yourwebsite.com and view it, it's just code. But the nice thing about WordPress, right, is the user experience. Not everybody has to learn how to code to build a website with WordPress. And that was pretty unique.
Yeah. I saw a social media post the other day, and it was one I couldn't not comment on. I couldn't tell if it was trying to be funny. Like, I didn't know if they were taking the Mickey or whatever you say, or if she was serious. But it was this woman, and she was like, I am trying to build this WordPress website, and it is the devil. Like, this is just absolutely horrible. And then she said she'd already built hundreds of WordPress sites before, but this experience on Bluehost was just miserable. And she goes, I don't know if it's Bluehost or if it's WordPress, but this thing is the devil. And but then she elaborated, and she was like, all I need this thing to do, is basically be like this booking tool and to be able to teach people and and she starts naming all these dynamic properties that she's trying to stack on top of WordPress. And so for me, I was like, listen to this lady. she's trying to build a multi-channel, dynamic, super site, and then wondering why it might be confusing or complicated. And I just thought that was hilarious, and I was like, I have a full-blown agency and I build these websites for people all the time. You're talking about, integrating multiple dynamic tools together and expecting some seamless result without understanding what you're building. It was a very unique kind of thing. And I think that that's happening to a lot of people right now. I think a lot of people are seeing WordPress and coming through the marketing or listening to other people or hearing that, well, so-and-so's niece or nephew could do it. It's got to be simple. But then they're trying to put in professional level dynamic tools and then getting confused or not seeing the benefits right away. Like, I remember when I first, and I've told you this before, but it could be maybe other people haven't heard this. When I first signed up for Lifter LMS, I signed up and you get a bundle and you get Lifter LMS as the core, but then you get all those bundle add-ons, right? And I thought, well, I paid for it. And I literally was just like, well, I paid for it. I'm going to install them all and activate them. And so I installed them all and activated them. And then I had this giant mess on my hands without even really understanding. I had no users. I didn't really have any content yet, but I had all these weird tools activated on my website. And I was overwhelmed, and I'm trying to just remember what it was like way back then, right? It was like I just activated all these things. I wasn't sure what they did. It seemed, and with no content, with no data in there, it was like, well, this is just stupid. It doesn't do anything, right? And I had these weird feelings of not accomplishing anything. Like I just felt like, well, this is a horrible failure. And then over time, I got to realize, oh yeah, build a minimal viable product, add a payment gateway. Once I have some traffic in here, maybe people want to sign up in groups, maybe, and you start adding those elements as you need them, like let the people pull the features from you that they require. And it's that whole methodology of building, a good membership or a good course site became evident over time. And I think a lot of people in today's marketplace, they don't have the patience for the sweat equity or for the minimal viable product build and learn. I think they just I think they want instant gratification. And I think they see the Kajabi advertising and the Udemy advertising and the school advertising, and they think building an online course is simple. And even if you use those platforms, there's still a learning curve on those platforms. So you might as well go where you have the flexibility and the ownership with WordPress.
Yeah. What I love, we have been in the e-learning industry for however many years, and like decades, or for me, a decade, and teaching people how to do this stuff and encouraging people to do it, helping them build their learning platforms. And it's cool that it almost feels like we were ahead of the curve with the wave. Like now Alex Hormozy with School and Sam Evanson, they're just getting into the e-learning industry. And that's because it's showing massive profit. And so they're growing in super heavy, super hard. But we've been here for decades. We're on the slow burn, and we're not going to jump ship to the next thing that quickly.
Yeah. Well, that famous person, Amy Porterfield, is now famous, this week for saying that online courses are dead. Right. And it's so now these people are rephrasing the terminology and they're saying, I'm really running a coaching site. Well, I've been talking to people about hybrid learning sites for 20 years. I don't understand. And they're like, well, e-learning got really popular during COVID. I'm like, well, you apparently didn't have a job until COVID, because anyone that had a job had online training. It was just such a weird transition to hear people talk they talk in terms like these influencers. I don't know where they come from. They say some crazy things sometimes. Do you see Ronald's question? Oh, yeah. Gosh, I need to just plow right back into bed is what I need to do. I'm having a day today.
I feel you on that. I feel you.
Ronald says, I am having problems having people enroll in my Lifter LMS. I also put the universal package, but cannot get rid of my old license. Well, the cool thing is we now mask the license in the adding the license screen. So, Emily could kind of show you where that license goes. You might need to remove the license and then repaste the license in. Sometimes that is an issue for folks. I don't know if it's a caching issue or a server issue or what, but sometimes you need to remove your license and then reinstall your license. The question I would have for you on follow-up, Ronald, if you could give us some additional information, would be where are you hosting? What theme are you using? Things like that. When someone says they're having a problem with people enrolling in Lifter LMS, if it's a brand new website and you're just building it and you haven't had a customer yet and they're not seeing the course page or they're not seeing the enrollment option, sometimes it's like a permalink issue and you need to flush the permalinks or flush the cache on your website. Typically, if people aren't seeing on the front end what you think they should be seeing, chances are it's a caching issue. And that caching issue is either a caching issue with your website or a caching issue with your host. And hosting companies, for the most part, are familiar with dynamic websites and they understand that they shouldn't be caching dynamic content. But a lot of hosts still do until you call them and tell them what you've built, and then they kind of modify your caching settings for your hosting package. It says you're hosting directly on WordPress. Well, if you're hosting directly on WordPress, I don't think you're really going to have much of a caching issue there. And they're friendly with Lifter LMS. I mean, as far as the actual hosting goes, there's some plugins that don't work with directly on WordPress. So WordPress.com, or are you on a pressable hosting package that's still self-hosted? Because that's kind of the question too. says the site has been hosting LMS for a couple of years. Well, that's weird. I would definitely try a server-side caching flush. I would flush the permalinks just to be certain. I would remove and reinstall the Lifter LMS license because you said that was an issue for you. And then let's just be honest. You have the Universe bundle. You have access to support. If you do, that base level maintenance on your hosting package and you're still having an issue, I would recommend filling out a support ticket, submit, a copy of your system report. We show you how to do that, and get, support to help you. You've got access to paid support. So that would be the next step after making sure the basics are covered. So yeah, flushing permalinks, flushing cache, remove and reinstall your license, double check that, what your students see is what you expect them to see. And then probably a support ticket after that if you're still having an issue. Emily, what are your thoughts? Am I crazy?
No, I think that makes sense. It's a good step. Yeah.
Would you be game to do a screen share and just show where the license goes for other listeners and viewers that might be wondering where that happens?
Yeah, so jumping into the back end here, if we go to Lifter LMS add-ons and more, this is where we will add our license key. My license keys, you can remove existing ones right here. You check the box and click remove if there is a license key, but if not, just paste in and then click add new. What that allows you to do is get access to updates for the add-ons. With WordPress plugins, you can always download the zip file because all a plugin is a series of code, and that code comes in a zip file. And you can put that on your website manually if you've ever uploaded a plugin before. But an easier way is just to use your license key because we've designed a user experience where you don't have to deal with this download and upload zip file thing. All you have to do is add your license key, and then all of these buttons, you'll see what you get access to. It'll say activate, and it will say licensed and not unlicensed. But that's just because on our demo sites we don't have a license key because we don't want users to take
Ronald's other question, and I kind of foresaw this question coming, was how do I flush the permalink? By the way, the things that we discuss on this call, you can go to Lifter LMS, use the search box, and find actual documentation for all of these things. The documentation at Lifter is amazing. But because we're live and we can show it now, we could, basically just open up settings, permalinks, and show you how to flush those. You're basically just resaving the use of the pretty link in your website.
Yeah. So with permalinks, let's go to settings, permalinks, and then all we're going to do is click save at the bottom, save changes.
Yeah, and notice post name is the one that's selected.
Post name is the one that should be selected. So that's one Lifter LMS works off of. And what this means is that your website.com/quiz/lesson, we don't want like /202602/lesson because Lifter LMS is looking specifically for certain URLs. That could be causing problems. So post name, click save. It'll ask your website to reevaluate what permalinks are available. And that's going to be permalinks are the URL structures /quiz/course, lesson, group, whatever. But yeah, caching also is a hosting thing. But with WordPress.com, I don't think they allow hosting or caching. I don't think they allow caching on their hosting platform.
Yeah, unless you're on a branch of their hosting. WordPress is incredibly confusing as a company because, it's owned by Automattic. It's open source, yes. So there's WordPress.org, where we get the open source versions of self-hosted WordPress. And then there's the hosted versions of WordPress at WordPress.com. But then there's Pressable and other hosting options that Automattic has their fingers in. And so sometimes when I talk to clients, when they say they're hosted with WordPress or they're working with WordPress directly, I have to really ask some more questions to figure out, okay, where is this thing really?
Yeah. And it adds confusion to how does Lifter LMS integrate with WordPress. It's like WordPress by Matt Mullenweg in like 2003 was an open source software that anyone could install on their own server, their own hosting service. They could set it up themselves, add WordPress, and it meant that they could build websites without coding. And as a profit engine later, the company Automatic that Matt owns launched their own hosting service for WordPress called WordPress.com. So WordPress.com
No
is
confusion.
no confusion, is the paid service that's like $10 a month for the business plan or whatever it is to host a WordPress install. Whereas WordPress.org is the open source software, and any WordPress host is going to be using that open source software on their own platform. So it's almost like WordPress is the name of the open source software, and then the company that made and manages the copyright made a paid product with the exact same name, even though you could go with a multitude of different web hosts, and if you're using LMS, it might be beneficial to do so.
I think Matt's mother might get confused.
Yeah.
That wasn't funny.
How do I flush permalinks? But yeah.
Now,
It's-
when
it's-
I don't know if you're as paranoid as I am. When I flush permalinks, I generally flush them twice. Like I save it and it refreshes and then I save it again. And I don't know why I'm so goofy that way, but I always save it twice. I think that's because the directions in our resource say to do it twice.
They say to do it twice. Interesting.
I think so. Yeah, I could be totally wrong on that. It's been a hot minute since I actually read that resource all the way through. But I tend to be a paranoid person. Like when I make a change in Elementor, for example, and I publish it in Elementor, and then I exit back to WordPress, and you end up on like the edit page again in WordPress, I'll click save again. Like click save from the from the WordPress. Like just save it. Just make sure it's saved. Because I'm a goofball.
I feel you.
Paranoia. Like when you work on our course builder, it's become habit for me now. Instead of like getting out of that page, I'll still click save changes, even if the changes have already said they're saved. Like if that thing says save changes, I'm saving changes. Like I just do it.
Yeah, the Lifter LMS course builder uses something called the Heartbeat API. So it like every 15 seconds or so, it says save changes, and sometimes it like the blue button turns orange and it's clickable and it says save, and you should do it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Ronald says I'm using Astra as a theme. So Astra, if you've had a site for a while, Astra is a great choice. A great choice to have a theme years ago. I think they've started supporting Lifter LMS a little bit less now that Lifter LMS has its own theme, and now we're like, I think I would imagine that they could be a little bit like, bro, why are y'all doing your own theme? Like a lot of your customers were coming to our theme, and now you're competing with us in your own market. But you know what? If you've been hosting LMS for years, you made probably the best choice at the time. And it's still good. It's still good.
There is one thing happening with Astra theme that I feel I'm going to bring up.
Mhm.
Oh boy. Let's hope that I don't get in trouble for this one. So I use Astra extensively with customer projects. And I've noticed that I use Astra and Astra Pro and Spectra. So just to be clear, I layer this thing up. I layer this thing up pretty good. I've noticed a few of the sites, they're made with Spectra, and I want to be really transparent. ZipWP, that's what it was. It was on the tip of my tongue. There it is, ZipWP. So we've used an AI tool to format the page, right? I've noticed when you make the website, you know how you have your gutters on the side, right? And all your contents in the middle, Emily?
Yeah.
Usually, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, sometimes these Astra websites lately, they're just going boom, full width, no gutter, no nothing, right? But they're made with the gutter, right? And so then you go, what the hell's going on? And then you clear the cache, refresh the screen, back to the center of the page. And it's only really been happening on the home pages. And so what I've done is I've gone into our caching tool and I have excluded the home page from caching, and it cut it all way back. But I don't know why it was happening in the first place. I was really tempted to send Astra a support ticket, but I'm not sure if it's Astra or our hosting. But it's been really weird, and it's only like 3 of our sites. And when we do the update, so let's say that we do an update for Astra and then Astra Pro and then Spectra, right? When I do all the updates, I definitely go through and I flush the cache for the website whenever I update the plugins, and then I inspect the site to make sure that it's still formatted correctly. And as long as I remember to flush the cache, everything's fine. If I do the update without flushing the cache, a lot of times some of the formatting with the spacing for the gutter breaks and it goes full width. It's kind of a weird thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's only on my Astra sites because I have Cadence sites, I have SkyPilot sites, I have Bricks sites, and I have Etch sites. And the only one that's given me issues is the Astra sites in that regard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that issue, but makes sense.
Yeah. Do you have a bunch of Astra sites too?
Yeah. I've not personally, but on my client websites, I got a bunch of them using Astra, and I've had to release a lot of CSS patches in the last like year to their websites, and so that's kind of what I'm like. I don't know how much attention Lifter gets pre-update anymore, specifically like having all that tested, because some of the formatting gets wonky. But I think they've rectified all that now, and so I think it's probably chilling, but I don't know. I have like, when I have in my back pocket for my clients a set of CSS codes specifically to fix Astra formatting with Lifter, I'm like, it kind of makes me like a little suspicious. But yeah, Cadence, I have the same thing for Cadence too. It's not like I think
the Cadence dashboard gets wonky.
The dashboard gets wonky, and there's honestly a weird issue that's happened since the beginning, which is like where, in our Lifter LMS dashboard, we have our tabs along the side that say like courses, memberships, certificates, favorites, notifications, edit my account. It's all along like the left-hand side usually. And with Cadence, it makes the login form confined to the right 2/3 of the screen. So when you're logged out, instead of seeing a full screen login, you're seeing the 2/3 as if the dashboard sections are there, even though you can't see them yet because you're not logged in. That's been an issue since the beginning. And they may be overly nerdy, but yeah. Ronald says, how about Hestia?
Yeah, let your fingers do the walking. I've never heard of Hestia.
I feel like I've heard the name, but I would recommend Lifter LMS SkyPilot or Astra or Cadence. Astra and Cadence at one point in time were Lifter LMS industry leading themes. And now we have our own theme, SkyPilot, built on the full site block editor, which is really, really, really good. And I think it's included in the Universe bundle. So I recommend that one. It's just the likelihood you'll have issues between SkyPilot and Lifter is low, and if you do, we are of course going to fix them because it's also built on interesting technology. When you migrate themes, if you've been in WordPress for more than 5 years, you've definitely had to migrate a website to say like, we're going to change our theme, and it's a huge undertaking because you have to reformat your pages. You got to make sure your menus are good, your colors are good. You got to do a lot of rebuilding when you update that theme. But with SkyPilot, we're using a new technology that you'll see in the future. I think Cadence and Astra are working on integrating this as well, or they may have already integrated it. It's full site editing, where you do the block editor is no longer just in your content area. It's in your headers and your footers, and you can make templates for stuff with blocks. It's really cool. It's like a page builder coming to WordPress. And this means that in another 5 years, when you need to switch themes, if you've used a full site editing theme, you can migrate very easily to another full site editing theme, and you don't have to rebuild the way that you used to. So we're really going to see the payoffs for that in five years or so.
Yeah. I just looked up Hestia, and it's got some pretty cool like options for design through the. It's using the customizer, and it has different layouts, and you can get a little bit more granular with some of your margins and spacings. But yeah, realistically, it still wouldn't rise to the top of my choices. I'm an Astra person, a Cadence person, a Sky Pilot person, and then like I said, if I want to get really technical, I'll jump into Bricks or Etch.
Yeah.
Kind of stay away from all those other third party things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you doing any more like e-learning? Are you working on any other e-learning platforms?
Like you mean other than Lifter?
Yeah. So Fluent Community has a courses element, right? And Fluent Community also integrates really well with Lifter. So you can manage the access to Fluent Community with the membership tools of Lifter LMS. So to me, they're married together really well. So if I'm using Lifter LMS and I want a community tool, I'll use Fluent Community, and then I'll remove the courses option from the navigation of the community because I'm putting all my courses in the Lifter side, right? But I was curious. I was like, hey, they have a course element. Let's try it. And so I went in and I added a 31 lesson course to one of my Fluent Community sites. And I got to tell you, it loaded very intuitively, like adding lessons, naming lessons, editing lessons. It was pretty intuitive and it worked pretty well. But here's the thing that I always get to with these things, Emily, and it's weird because I've already said out loud I'm not the graphic designer type, but you can't do anything with it. Like you can't. There's nothing to style. There's no design elements. Like if it's a video course, there's the video on the page. Like that's it, right? There's no. I'm not changing backgrounds. There's really no like block elements to really put around it. And I found the same thing when I worked in school. I have a school account. I wanted to see what that was like. And so I jumped into school, loaded up the same 31 lesson course in that. And with school, you do have an option. You can be in light mode or dark mode. That's it. There's nothing else to change or update or nothing. And like your home page in school for like what is your academy, right? Like let's be realistic, right? Like if I wanted to use school as my, as a course creator site, it's not a site. Like you get like a profile page that looks like a Facebook page, kind of, right? Has like the same elements of like a Facebook page. It's got a cover, it's got a profile picture. It almost looks like one of our social learning pages. And then there's like a news feed kind of thing. People could put in comments, and then the course. And like I said, you have the freedom to say, you want to see it light or dark, and then there's no other like design freedoms or anything there. And so it's interesting to me. It's like there's these different tools, and I always like to see like what are the tools, how do they work, like is it intuitive, is it easy, like for a minimal viable project, for a proof of concept, see, hey, would anybody be interested in the information that I want to share? Like maybe that is a good first step, like this to vet your idea first. But then I think, man, if I really wanted to have like a learning site, I want a site. I want like a content management system that surrounds my LMS and gives me the freedom and the design flexibility to build what I want. And that's what's always brings me back to WordPress and Lifter.
Yeah. And I don't want to say this to discourage people from working in WordPress and working in Lifter, but recently I've realized the power of putting like an hour into each of my lesson pages, at least of effort. And that's where I think about think about user experience, I think about course completion. I use courses as lead magnets or like intro material for people who are looking for something free or cheap to engage with this brand. That's usually me one-on-one coaching people on an hourly rate, right? So I'm trying to build a user experience. And for me to build that user experience properly, I need to spend an hour or more per lesson on my course platforms, or else I'm not going to get the conversion I want. Because what's happening is that people are coming into my courses, they're watching my video courses, and then they're maybe hitting up my contact form. Maybe they're just churning. And so for you, even if you have paid courses, figuring out how learners can really engage and feel a sense of flow in your learning content is important. And I've been realizing that recently, that that's going to involve a little more investment of my time to make sure the experience is good.
Oh, it feels so much better. I just realized my light above my head was like on high intensity. I'm like, why am I feeling tired? Oh, the light's right in my eyes. Let's turn that down. Turn it down. I feel so much better.
Nice.
All right. Well, Emily, we've done it. We've managed to get ourselves to the end of the hour. I don't know. We're going to have to check the automations and make sure that things got mailed out or sent properly or something through the CRM, because we have Dell and we have Ronald, and it's been a pretty quiet hour. So, folks, if you meant to be here and you missed us, I don't know what happened to your clock. We're same bat channel, same bat time. But hey, we'll see you next week. Next week for sure. Have yourselves a wonderful day, wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.